What's up? What's up? Welcome to our
Hello.
channel.
Howdy.
Howdy. I love it.
We're from Texas.
Yeah, gotta represent, right? Well, welcome everybody. We've got an awesome guest, personal friend of ours, co-worker, support. I'm trying to think of the word I'm saying. Huge support in our life. That's what I'm trying to say. There you go. We lean on this dude in so many different ways. I mean, this guy, he's awesome. True go-giver. He is part of our team on the single family side and the multifamily side. And I'm going to not go too into it just yet. I don't want to give anything away. But this dude, he's a really awesome guy, really great person.
He crushes it.
Crushes it.
That's so funny. He crushes it. There we go.
There you go. And she was going to be a teacher, guys. Remember that.
Remember
that. I love it. Without further ado, guys, let's bring up our guest,
Hey.
TJ Nguyen.
Woo!
Hey, guys.
We need like an applause.
I know, yeah, we do need an applause.
A little button
That'll be the
hit.
next video we create.
Thanks for
Welcome,
having me.
TJ. We're honored to have you on today.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, such a pleasure. I mean, that intro, I don't even think did you justice. I think you're gonna do even better job. Like, let's take it back, man. Who is TJ?
Who is TJ? I am a person who loves chasing my passions. So that started in high school. I got into robotics, like our robotics team, and that kind of became my thing. And that led me down into a path of engineering. And so I went to college for mechanical engineering. My freshman year, I got involved with the office that did the robotics competitions that I was a part of. And so I wanted to volunteer, such a huge part of my life in high school. And as an engineer, like it was just a natural fit to want to give back and teach other kids and get them passionate about the same things I was passionate about. And, I ended up finishing my degree in mechanical engineering and really becoming more and more involved in work. And that really took precedent over my classes at sometimes. But we did things like robotics competitions, science Olympiad, math tournaments, all kinds of things to get kids involved in K-12 math and science events. And so I've always had a passion and a skill set for breaking down complex subjects and teaching it to, everywhere from kindergarten to 12th grade. And then I did a lot of teaching professional development to teachers so that they could do these same things in their classrooms and really build up our STEM pipeline for engineers and scientists.
Man, I love that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I never got that side of the story, right? I knew that you were an engineer, and I knew that you went from being an engineer to the teaching role, which now makes total sense with that kind of background there. And now in the current role that I see you in, right, every day, you're teaching members of our team a whole bunch of different strategies along the way. And I see that you get so much joy out of giving back to the people. And you've told me as such multiple times. So how did you make that transition from, we got the kind of the understanding from being the engineer minded person, right? Loving the robotics, loving giving back. And that is a clear path of progress to the teaching role. How did you go from those two into the real estate realm that you're in now? Like, what was that journey? What was that mindset look like? How did it all start?
So my first property I bought was a townhome. I bought in 2017 in Auburn, Alabama. So that's where I went to college. I was there for 2.5 degrees. So I have a master's in secondary science education and most of a master's in mechanical engineering. But as soon as I graduated with the first master's, I started an apartment with my boss, who I'd been working for 8 years at that point. And we started a robotics education department specifically for robotics education at Auburn. And so when I got my first big boy job, I bought a townhome and I was like, well, I'm gonna house hack this. I got a roommate and he paid half my mortgage. And then my plan when I bought that, Auburn's a SEC football town. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna Airbnb whenever I move. So I moved back to Birmingham, where I'm from, in November 2019, and we turned that unit into an Airbnb January 2020, and that kind of started our real estate investor journey. And it's really easy to remember because it was literally January 1st, 2020 is when we
Oh,
went live.
nice.
That's awesome.
Nice. Way to line up. Did you plan that or did it just happen?
I didn't plan that. So I moved back November 11th, 2019. I started a teaching job doing robotics in the classroom. And so that was actually my first stint in the classroom outside of like the internship or whatnot. Typically, I'd worked in informal education, so after school programs, summer programs, and weekend events. And then I became a robotics teacher. So I was the robotic teacher for an enrichment teacher. So that was like a class that we had at the middle school.
Nice. Do you still have that townhome?
It's funny you asked that. We just signed the paper today selling it. So I bought it at 130, and I have no idea how I got this. I look back and I literally have no idea how I got this townhome, because when I lived there, I was like, oh, I love these so much. I want to buy it. It was less than a mile from campus, a fenced in backyard, an attached garage. And it was like under $150,000. So I biked to school every day. And so we just sold it for like $130K profit since 2017. And we just cleared all of our credit card debt that we accumulated scaling up our business. So in our business, that first year, we went from 0 to 3 Airbnbs. Year 2, we went from 3 to 8. Year 3, we went from 8 to 15. Year 4, which we just ended, we went from 15 to 25. And then we're at 30 or 31 in 2024 already.
Wow.
That's so awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm so proud of you, TJ. That's so cool.
Thanks. A lot of it is, so we do a mix of ones we own. The first 3 we bought, we owned. And then we started doing some arbitrage because that was the big thing, how to get into Airbnbs without your own money. And then we took on a lot of credit card debt. We didn't know how to structure partnerships. So a lot of those properties we took on was a lot of credit card debt and probably like 2 to 3 years break even just from the cash flow. And then we started getting smart. And so we started partnering with our landlords instead of being their long-term tenant. We were like, all right, we're going to charge you 15% as a management fee. And if we set it up, you pay for the furniture and you pay us a fee to set it up. So we've been able to scale a lot better. And then, by selling that townhome today, we were able to clear all the debt we accumulated, learning all of the mistakes we wish we had known from the beginning.
That's awesome.
I love that. I think I can definitely relate to that. Like being an entrepreneur and getting into this space and like having to leverage credit cards or some type of loan or something like that. It's like you're taking a risk on yourself, and like sometimes you have to wait and you don't know when that day is going to pay off. And so when it does, it's like the best feeling, the biggest relief that like, hey, it worked. We did it. We made it happen. So I can imagine how you feel, because we've done that before where we got a really huge payday and we paid off all our debt. And I'm just like, it's such a freeing feeling. Like, it's just like,
it's exhilarating.
It's
a huge weight. We were paying like $2,500 plus per month in interest on credit cards.
Oh my
gosh.
God.
So that's like $30K a year. And so we were able to clear all that. And so all of the stuff, all of that money that we were paying towards credit cards, we're now going to be able to put back in our business, build up our capital, and then start buying stuff with equity now instead of making all these other landlords rich.
I love that, man.
I'm so
awesome.
happy
I'm
for you.
pumped.
I can see the joy in your face.
It's such a freeing feeling. Now I don't have to do all these side jobs. I can just focus on being a closer for y'all and pouring into our team and building everything up.
Hey, not for us, with us. With us. Yeah.
I definitely feel like we're a family and part of a team.
I love that. Honestly, guys, TJ, he's been such a blessing on our team. Like, he's a leader. He does so much, and to see how much he has grown from when we first started working together till now, especially like seeing him on the multifamily side, I'm just like so impressed and so proud of like just seeing his growth. And it's inspiring for others too, to see like TJ literally, he took action every day and now he's crushing it. And now he's teaching others on our team and he's helping them close deals and showing them how to negotiate. And he's holding office hours for people and going above and beyond. And it's just like, wow, he set the bar high for like what a leader on a team needs to be. And I don't know, I'm very thankful to have you on the team, TJ.
I'm thankful to have y'all. Me and my wife are big on law of attraction, and since I joined Sub 2, which was February 6th, 2023, I've been full-time real estate, and I went at it alone for a really long time, and I closed a few deals and helped few people close their first deals, but I really didn't get the traction I wanted until I partnered with y'all and joined a team. And so even me, I don't want to sound like cocky, but like I knew what I was doing, but it still was like a grind. And now it feels like a grind still, but it's so much more fun. And like I can just focus on what I'm good at and like leverage y'all and lean on y'all, and it's just such a good feeling being like part of, and it's more, we're more than a team. It's like you say all the time, we're a family. And so I'm glad that we attracted each other into each other's lives.
Hey, amen. I couldn't have said it better myself. And I don't know if you saw the comment from Jada about the meme. I think she's still feeling that
one. Well, if she thinks that's the last one, she is mistaken.
Oh, I love it.
I was about to say, so the story behind that is, I don't know if y'all saw the video I posted of Jada dancing. Well, TJ made a meme out of it. So like on our team in the Discord, when TJ went and posted the meme when we were all hyping up stuff, I don't even remember, but it was really funny.
We had 7 contracts in one day, and I was like, this is what Jada's reaction to this.
Yeah. So that's what I love about our team, is that like we can, like in the Discord and like all the messages and stuff, we're always hyping each other up and showing up for each other and leaning on each other, and knowing that like, hey, if someone's not feeling down or can't show up or do something, like we know, hey, I can call somebody else and get somebody to help. And TJ is definitely one of those guys that we can lean on and we're happy to have on our team.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't want to spend the whole time talking about what we're doing, which we're doing a lot of stuff. If you want to find out what we're all doing together, reach out to TJ, man. Don't even talk to us. Reach out to TJ. That's who you should talk to. He'll give you the scoop. We're gonna, we're biased. We're gonna tell you what's great about us, right? He'll give you the honest truth about how we really are, what the team is really going on, right? And I'm telling him right now, tell the truth. I don't care whatever it is. Tell him, give it to him. Let's talk about how you kind of scaled your Airbnb business to kind of what it is, right? Because he's not just working with us along with what we're doing on the wholesale business, but he's also growing his own Airbnb empire, and not just Airbnbs, but short-term and midterm rentals. So how did that kind of come to be? Was it just because of that one Airbnb and you were like, man, I really enjoyed this, and then it kind of just kept stacking? Or was that always kind of a goal of yours?
So the first guest we had in the Airbnb was a disaster. I was 26, or no, at that time I was 28, and I was like, oh yeah, this looks great, it's ready to go. But I was a 28-year-old like bachelor, so it was not ready to go. The first guest checked in and she's like, this is wrong, and it's nasty, and there's like nothing on the walls, and she was like, I'm checking out immediately. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I had a cleaner come. Obviously they didn't do what they needed to do. I didn't set that expectation. I didn't know how to set that expectation. I was like, I'll issue you a full refund. Let me correct all these things, and please come back and give us another chance. So then went back to the drawing board and kind of took that feedback and improved on that. And so we were starting to get some pretty good steam at that point. So we probably had like 13 bookings before March, and then COVID hit, and so it shut everything down, and it canceled probably 18 reservations or so we had. So we were like panicking. We had multiple mortgages to pay for at that point. But then Airbnb was like, oh, you can't rent to travelers, but you can rent to travel nurses. So we were kind of forced into a pivot into midterm rentals, and we had no idea what to charge. So we basically just charged enough to cover the rent. But we were like, actually, this is really nice, just not having to worry about repeat guests and turnovers. And there's probably room for us to increase the price. So that kind of was our first foray into midterm rentals. And then we really leaned hard into it. And what we're finding is that we're increasing our occupancy so much that even if we drop our average daily rate, like our overall cash flow is very similar with a lot less headache. And there's a lot less competition in the midterm space, at least where we're operating, because everybody's chasing that high ADR for the weekends, and they'll book, at most 3 days over the weekend, and then leave 5 days a week or 4 or 5 days a week open, and so units not being used at all. And so we kind of flip that. We'd rather have all 30 days being used and take a 30% hit on the daily rate we're charging.
Yeah, because when you're doing that, for those that don't know, you're also saving on all of those cleaning fees that you're having. I mean, those add up pretty quickly. And then not only that, you're also getting hit with the Airbnb fees for each of those guests coming and going as well. So I definitely see the appeal of the business model for the midterms. I mean, it's been kind of blowing up a little bit here, and as far as I know, for the past 2 years or so, is really where I'm starting to see it kind of take off.
Yeah, another thing with the midterms is you mitigate a lot of the risk from long-term renters, which is your guests aren't putting stuff on the walls, they're not deferring maintenance or ignoring to tell you about a leaky faucet that's been leaking for a year. Then you go back and you find out it's been leaking to the drywall, and you have to replace all of that. And so you have a big turnover, and then it mitigates all the risks that we have with short-term rentals, where somebody's going to rent your unit for a giant party and then wreck it. Then you're out for a couple of weeks while you get everything cleaned up. With our midterm rentals, it's mostly traveling professionals, it's white collar people, it's families displaced for insurance or moving into a new area, looking for a home, or while they're looking for a home, and even the people who are bringing pets. Like, they're the best pet owners. They're by far the best pet owners you can have as tenants.
I love that. It's like the perfect medium for both sides, and I love how COVID turned what you were doing into like a whole new blessing and a new way of doing things. That's really cool how like you're like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? And I love that opportunity forced you to like grow and change and pivot and find a solution. Because some people, I'm sure, may have not tried to do anything. They probably just like, I'm gonna sell, I don't know what else to do, and probably gave up. Not all people can probably withstand going through something like that. I'm sure I would have panicked too. Like, what do I do? So that's cool to see how like you overcame that and it turned into something like really fruitful and awesome for you guys.
So I want to back up on the last statement you said. What is different about midterm rental pet owners? Why do you say that?
People who travel with their pets know what they need to travel with their pets. So their pets are well trained. They're their companion. Like, they treat their pet better than they treat their kids. And so like a lot of times they're traveling, they bring their dog crate, they crate up their animal. Their animal knows that what their schedule is going to be. And then they're at home, like after work. A lot of times these people are traveling and working 12 hours days. So they come home and they're just sitting at home, and then they're with their animal. So they just, I don't know, they just take care of everything so much better. Their pet's not an afterthought. Their pet is intentionally thought about to be their companion.
I like that. That's a cool breakdown. See, I'm learning different stuff all the time. I don't do short-term or mid-term rentals, at least not regularly. And so hearing that perspective is pretty cool to hear. So I have another question, but it's pretty funny, so I'm gonna save that to later. At least I think it's funny. I mean, maybe you won't. I don't know. But let's go. Sorry, let's go to. Man, I had a train of thought and I just lost it. Oh man.
You were asking earlier how we scaled. And I could tell you how we kind of started learning about how to partner with people, how we moved from arbitrage to co-hosting. And so what we found in arbitrage, we're like, yes, we didn't need all the capital to buy a property, but we didn't still need to furnish the properties. So that's where leveraging credit cards came in and buying stuff off of Facebook Marketplace. And then we spent all our time setting it up. And then, we started every property we arbitraged like $5,000 to $10,000 in debt because we just furnished it. And even if we're making $1,000 a month, it's going to take 5 to 10 months to break even. And that's at the best scenario. So when we scaled from 3 to 8, those were all 5 arbitrage units. And so that was like 5 to 8K times 5. So we were really hurting. And then, so, we had 8 units under control, but we were making no money. So, a lot of people read Rich Dad Poor Dad and like, oh, I'm going to get some units and cash flow and be living the life. And, there's so much more that goes into it. So like we really even didn't feel like we were doing anything or being on the right path until this past year when we hit 25. And now even when I quit my teaching job, we probably weren't financially ready, but that's what I needed to push me into this uncomfortable space where like I could grow as an investor.
I love that. I love that. And I think we've said this on at least like every other podcast, but every single time that we get put into a corner where like you got two decisions: either you give up and just like cry about it, or you figure out a way to get out of that corner, right? And that's essentially what you're talking about. Is you had to you forced yourself into that position, maybe intentionally, maybe not, but you force yourself into that position where it's like, look, the only way out of this is through it, so I got to make it happen. So I love that for sure.
Yeah, arbitrage was cool. We learned a lot of things that we still use to this day. So like the main thing we were pitching was all of the landlords we worked with were like long-term landlords. They were landlording for 20 plus years each. And they all had a bunch of units. So the first one we actually got was because I was telling my wife, I was like, "Hey, you need to start telling people we're in real estate. Like we're not gonna get any traction until you start telling people we're in real estate." And so she was in Auburn at a taco place, getting tacos, and she was talking about real estate to our son, and this guy overheard him, and she was like, "What do you guys do? I have like 40 doors, 50 doors." She's like, and this was the first time she told anybody we did real estate. So she said, we do short-term rentals. We work with landlords, which we hadn't at this point. We just talked about working with landlords. We work with landlords to turn units into short-term rentals, and here are the benefits to you as a landlord. And he was like, "Oh, let's try that." And so he gave us the first unit, and then we now have 5 units with this guy, and that's been the same pattern for every landlord we've worked with. They've been long-term landlords. We tell them why they should give us a shot. They give us 1 unit, and then within 3 months they're like, have some more. So every landlord we've worked with has given us more units.
That's
how
so cool. I love how
that's cool.
Your wife started that by talking about that. That's so cool how you encouraged her to talk about it, and then she saw it happen because she did that. That's so awesome.
She's definitely the lifeblood of our Airbnb business. So she does the design, and she's a former teacher as well. She's a Montessori teacher, and she's a mom of 4. And so she thinks about what families need and what travelers need and what people are missing. And so we have so many reviews that say, "I didn't even know I needed this until I saw that Prudence had thoughtfully put it out." And I just felt like I was at home when I got there.
I love that.
What is one of those things? Give us one. Give the people one of those secret sauce tips.
So
needs to be on here too.
a grandmother was coming to Auburn to visit her family to see her new grandbaby, and she was like, "The grandbaby's gonna be spending time over here." So we got a pack and play and put it in the unit, and then little baby kid furniture that's kid size, and then like kid toys and coloring books and things for the kid to do. And the grandmother was so happy that she could just sit there and spend time with her baby and not have to worry about like what if she had to keep the baby safe, or like what she needed to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure she didn't have to chase her around. I don't know if it was a boy or girl, but chase them around, because that's basically what we do all day now, is chase around the kid all over the place. Man, that's cool. I like that. Thinking outside the box, man. That's how you do it. You get creative.
Like when people tell us they have pets, we make sure there's fresh dog treats, and we have dog beds in all of our units, and that the cleaners have the bowls out where the pets can use them and be refilled and things like that. Just people tell us why they're in town, and we try to accommodate them. People are coming in for football games at Auburn. One of the traditions is rolling our trees when we win. So like for football games, we'll stick a roll of toilet paper that says "For Tumors Corner," which is where you go roll the trees. And so we'll stick it on the table And so it's just a bunch of little things, thinking about why people are there and acknowledging that.
That's cool. I like that. What a different tradition. Who has to clean that up?
So the university pays our facility staff to clean it up, but it's like extra overtime. So it happens whenever we do something good. So we just won the SEC tournament, so they just rolled tumors, or whenever any sport does well, they go roll it. So it's really cool.
I bet that person hates that part of their job.
I don't think so. I think it's fun because it's so unique to Auburn,
Yeah.
and it's a whole crew. So like the
Okay.
so we went to the national championship in 2010, and it looked like a snowstorm. There was so much toilet paper, and so they use like fire hoses and they hand pick it out, and it's like it takes a whole crew, but it's part of the tradition of Auburn.
It's funny because they're creating their own problem.
Yeah.
But it's cool how you guys do that. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that. That's awesome.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to go check that out one day. So can I just show up with my own like rolls of toilet paper?
Yeah, that's what people do. So like, when we win, a lot of people aren't prepared with toilet paper, but there's always like entrepreneurial students or high school students, and they'll come out with a whole like Sam's pack, and it's like $1 a roll.
Oh, genius!
That's smart.
Genius.
We should do that too when people start panicking over toilet paper again.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. So I got like maybe 2 or 3 more questions for you, and I don't know if you have anything. I don't want to take up the whole time, but I want to bring more people to you, man. I know that you're helping people kind of get their start right, and you're also helping do, I've sent a bunch of people to you for short-term and midterm questions. What are some of the ways that you are actively helping other people kind of either with their business, or what are some of the things that you have in play to kind of grow other people's business, but simultaneously your business and bringing more doors underneath your management?
So on the creative side, I'm a closer for hire, which is how we found each other. So I love helping people who have motivated sellers but don't know where to go from there, and I try to figure out what they need or want as a buyer and what the seller needs or wants on their end, and try to find a good way to get that deal done. On our Airbnb side, we do consults. So people ask us, hey, can you look at our listing, or can we do a Facebook walkthrough, and can you tell us why we're not getting the traction we're getting? And so sometimes it's the listing's incomplete, or sometimes their pictures are terrible, or it looks like every other one and they're not being differentiated. People also are like, hey, I want to jump in the midterm or short-term space, but I don't want to manage it because it's a whole nother business. And so they will hire us to do that. And so we work with a 1-2 student who had a 6 unit here in Birmingham, downtown, in a great area. And he was like, well, let me try one with you. The typical story. He was getting $750 per month as a long-term rent for the first one he gave us. He paid us to set it up. He paid for all the furniture. We went in and did our thing. And within 2 weeks, we had it booked for like the next 6 months at $1,850 to $2,250. So we like tripled his cash flow, and even taken out of our fee, he was still more than double what he was getting before.
Oh my
And
god.
so then he was like, okay, as all these leases come up, you guys have the rest of those. And so we just did 2 of those this year already. The next one's coming up at the end of the month. And so we'll have the whole 6 unit before the end of the year.
That's awesome.
I love that. That's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you, bro. That's super cool. I love hearing
appreciate
that.
it. Yeah, that side's on my wife. I love people on the creative side. I like helping people understand. So like people get the general gist of creative, but they don't understand the nuances. And my skill set of breaking down engineering and robotics concepts for little bitty kids, it's the exact same in creative. It's just complex subjects. You just need it broken down in a way that you can understand.
Man. Make it sound so easy, man. Why doesn't everybody do it?
Being a teacher is a gift.
That is true. I will say that. I agree with that.
Not everybody can teach. Those who can, it's a gift.
I don't think I have that gift. I think I fake it till I make it, to be honest.
I do that too. I think everybody does that. Or everybody doesn't acknowledge it, but it's a huge part of being successful is getting past that imposter syndrome and fighting your inner demons and push it through until you do feel confident.
Yeah, 100%.
But that was the biggest thing I was going to miss when leaving the classroom. I thought I was going to miss teaching the most. I was like, man, I get so much fulfillment from teaching. What am I going to do as a real estate investor? And lo and behold, I get to do more teaching as a real estate investor than I did as a teacher. And my students are way more motivated than my middle school students ever were. And it's really cool being able to teach somebody something and then watch them go buy a house and then change their life and be like, I never would have been able to do this without you. And that's worth more than like any assignment fee.
Aw, I love that.
I love that. Yeah, you definitely have you said it right in the very beginning, right? You're someone that follows your passions, and you can definitely tell that you are passionate about this and about not just real estate, but like teaching people. And I see it almost every day in all of our team meetings that we have. And you're like, look, here's my feedback, here's my critiques, and I'm happy to help. This dude's hosting office hours. Like, no one told him to do it. He just started doing it, right? And it's been a huge help for the team. I have at least one question. So here, this is the funny one, right?
I was waiting for this.
Yeah. This is gonna be.
I don't know what it is, but I'm curious.
I mean, we kind of already joked about this before, but I kind of want you to answer this. So, he lives in Alabama, guys. Is it true that you're like the only Asian in Alabama?
No, there's probably 10, maybe 12, like 13 of us at this point. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, Birmingham is pretty diverse. And I went to Hoover High School, which is a world famous football high school, and we had a show on MTV when I was in high school about our football team.
Really? That's cool.
And my school was super diverse. Like, I remember being in school with like all kinds of different Asians, and I never experienced that in high school, and all different kinds of brown people and all different kinds of white people out. And I was like, man, there's so much diversity here. And that being my limited knowledge of Alabama, I was like, yeah, this is just, this is normal. I still feel like a minority. And then I started traveling all over the state for my university job, and I was like, whoa, we had way more diversity. Like, I went to schools where there was one Asian kid or no Asian kids, and I taught in 99% black schools where I was the only Asian person most of the kids had ever seen in their entire life, let alone met or taught to. So I'm lucky enough to be like in the best part of Alabama, and I'm lucky enough to have seen the growth of Alabama to be more minority friendly, especially in places like Auburn and in Birmingham. There's a pretty big population down in Mobile. Vietnamese people are some of the best shrimp fishermen in the world, and they moved to Mobile doing the exact same thing as they did in Vietnam.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. It's funny. I bring that up because I remember we were having a conversation. I think you mentioned something about you being like the only Asian guy in your basketball team and almost the only Asian guy in your whole school at one point. And I just thought it was funny because I remember having that conversation, and I was like, yeah, I would have never guessed.
Yeah, it's been cool growing up. So like back then, the only Asian basketball player anybody knew was Yao Ming, and everyone's like, "Oh, Yao," and I was like, "We don't even play the same position." And then Jeremy Lin came and like changed the whole game, and people like started calling me Jeremy Lin. I was like, "I'll accept that. We both play shooting guard," and all of his nicknames like Lin Sanity or whatever match with my name. So I was like, "Oh, I'm Win Sanity," and just copied all the same things.
Copy and paste. Hey, I don't remember who said it, but someone said this. It was basically like the school system is wrong, right? The real thing that you should be doing is cheating off your neighbor, right? Copy what they're doing successfully, and then figure out a way to make it your own, and then don't reinvent the wheel, right? You just copy and paste of what's going on, and then make it unique to you. I see a couple of comments here in the chat, so I want to make sure we get to them. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, I see Alice's question, where we're renting our midterms. So we do all of our marketing is on Airbnb and Furnish Finder. In Auburn, it's funny. 90% of our stuff comes from Airbnb. In Birmingham, 80% of our stuff comes from Furnish Finder. And then the rest of what we do is direct bookings from repeat customers. And as far as agencies, we're not going direct to any agencies. So we've signed up on some things like ALE Solutions, which is for insurance companies. But we've gotten maybe one rental off of there. Usually insurance companies find us on Airbnb or Furnish Finder. And I forget who we follow or who taught us to do whatever, but the way our Furnish Finder listings are set up is to mirror what the insurance people are looking for. So somebody, I forgot which influencer did it, but they said make your listing look like this because this is what their insurance placement forms look like. And so we did that, and we started seeing a big uptick in insurance bookings. But they are few and far between, and if you don't have the availability or the exact match, they're moving on instantly. They got to place their people quickly.
Yeah.
That's cool to know.
Yeah, I know that because we have a couple apartments, and on one of them we want to kind of experiment with some short-term midterm. So I know I want nothing to do with that, and I know exactly who I'm going to be hitting up when we're ready to make that happen.
Yeah, I can tell you some cool tips. So like smaller units definitely work better, 1 and 2 units, because a lot of people are traveling alone, or they want to travel alone and have an office. For bigger units, they really don't stay booked for midterm rentals unless it's an insurance situation. But like I said before, that's really difficult to plan for. We mentor a couple people, and we've helped 2 separate young, like one young couple and one young individual, one gentleman in the Air Force. They both bought a duplex, and they both rent. We were like, yours are a little big to do Airbnb or midterm rentals traditionally, but try renting by the room, kind of like pad split, and they stay booked like all the time. And it's been such a good use case for them. So like one of the duplexes is 11 bedrooms, and on one side it's 4-3, and the other side's like a 7-4 or something like that. And the 7-bedroom side is the one they rent by the room, and they're making like $4,500 total on that side from renting by the room. And so they cash flow $1,000 and live for free.
That's crazy.
House hack.
Yeah.
Where you have midterm rentals.
It's a Furnish Finder.
Furnish Finder, yeah.
Yeah, solid spot. TJ, at what point, when is it best for somebody to bring an opportunity to you?
At any time, depends on the opportunity. If they are in the market looking for a short-term rental or mid-term rental, we can help them underwrite it and figure it out, because there's not a lot of information out there how to underwrite mid-term rentals. And a lot of people feel like it has to be in a certain area or it has to be a certain type of house. But we've had pretty good success with our mid-term rentals where other investors didn't see any potential. So our third unit we bought, the first 2 we had, one was my townhome, and then we ended up buying a second one on the same street in May of COVID. And that was the only reason we were able to buy that second one was because it was COVID. Like what I said, I had no idea how about that townhome before. I tried to buy more since I got that one, but as soon as you saw a for sale sign, like it was already sold. Like the for sale sign was like basically after the fact. I don't even know why they're putting it in the ground because they had already sold that house. But this opportunity was in May of COVID, so like not everybody was looking. And then it was a for sale by owner sign, and then the number was washed off, so we skip traced it. And the person who owned it was a guy I went to school with in engineering, and I was like, yes, we're in. So that was the only way we were able to buy it. But then the third property we got was with hard money. It's a 2-1 900 square foot house. There's like literally nothing special. It didn't even have central heat and air. We bought it for $100,000. We put in central heat and air. The couple who has that 11-bedroom duplex, he's an HVAC specialist, so he put in a unit for us for like $1,000, labor included. And then our PIT on that one's like $615, and we bring in like $2,200 to $2,400 a month on that one. And it's literally just because it's close to the highway. Like it's literally, you would think that was nothing special at all.
Wow.
That's so cool.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool.
I wouldn't have known any of this stuff.
Yeah.
We did. So that one was a pure intuition play. We were like, this one looks good. The price is right. Let's give it a shot. Because it was on the market for a little bit. And it turns out is our best performing unit to date. It's probably 90% booked. We have people waiting for it all the time.
That's awesome.
And so, TJ, what would you have done if that intuition play didn't work out? Right? Like, what would you have done?
Long term rent. I mean, the crazy thing is in 2020 we got a hard money loan on that, 10% down, so it's $10,000 out of pocket, 5% interest on a hard money loan to buy this property. And the PIT was $615, so we could have rented it for $800, been fine.
Yeah. I asked the question because, like, I want to make the point that there's always something that can be done, right? You have to really think outside the box.
It came with 3 lots too, so like worst case we could have parceled it off and got a survey done and sold the other 2 lots adjacent, and then just kept the unit we had. But it's done so well, we just have the other lots. We haven't done anything on them.
Yeah, you build a couple more units, then you have multiple midterms.
Well, when capital gets cheaper to build, we'll do that. But right now we're just sitting on it.
I love it. AJ, I took up all the question time.
Yeah, no.
Do you have any questions?
No, I enjoyed this whole conversation. It was really cool to learn more about what you're up to, TJ. I have the same passion as you for teaching and helping others. That's why I went to school to be a teacher, and that didn't work out. Hey,
Teachers aren't meant to be successful.
But it's great to be able to like come and teach here in the real estate community, because you have passion for it and so do I. So it's just cool to apply those skills to this stuff. So I relate to you and I respect you for doing all of that, because you do need teachers to teach, especially when not everybody has access to things like that. So
yeah, we have some cool ideas cooking. Like I said before, I love being part of this team. I think we share, I say this all the time, we share a common ethos, and we're all about helping people and making money. Like, a lot of people think you have to be cutthroat in this business. And we're, all of our calls, we're up front. We're like, hey, we want to help you, and if we can't, we're going to tell you that up front. And you can, if we're not your best option, we're going to tell you what the best option is, and hopefully you go do what's best for you as a seller or an investor or whatever it is. And we've had a couple deals who've come back to us and with not the best terms, like, hey, we want to work with you because you've been honest with us like that.
Honesty is the best policy.
Say it again for those in the back.
Yeah, no, I enjoy that about you and like about the culture that we've created with our team, just because I think it's very important, and it's not fun either. Like, if you're lying and then now you're having to remember what lies you've told and all of that. And it's just, I think we come across more genuine when we're talking to sellers. Okay, when you're talking to sellers, I'm not talking to sellers. We
don't do that anymore. We know our role. That's not it.
That's not my avatar. I'm not good with agents. But like for TJ to be able to have confidence in knowing like his intentions are, I'm helping people, I'm here to create or give a solution, that really makes a big difference, because I think it helps take the guard down. For some, not all agents are like that, but I definitely think that's very helpful, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are doing direct to agent and are probably going about it a totally different way that maybe doesn't align with what we're doing. So sets us apart.
I have one last question for you. I know I said I was done, but I have one last question. And I think whoever's watching will enjoy this one. Give us one horror story you've had. Everybody's got one, especially in the short-term world. Give us one horror story.
One horror story. What they typically say is like, don't take short-term bookings from local people. And we did that once, and we're like, oh, this is within 30 minutes. Ooh, it's a one-day booking. We'll give it a shot. And, in all hindsight, it wasn't that the worst booking, but we went in, it smelled like weed when we like went to clean it up. Like it was clearly a bachelorette party there. There were like used condoms everywhere.
Oh my god.
There was like pin the penis on a model like game set up that they didn't happen to take down. And it was I mean that we've really been pretty lucky with our bookings, but that was probably the worst one. And then another one which was funny was this girl from Mountain Brook, which is the most expensive zip code in Alabama. She booked our place for a game day and she brought a dog, and the dog wasn't announced. So after the fact, we looked on the camera, we saw her bring the dog in, we saw her call the name, we saw her take the dog in and out. Her profile had all good reviews except for one of them said she was great except she brought a dog unannounced. And so we tried to charge her a pet fee after the fact, and she was like, we're gonna charge you $100 for your pet fee. And she was like, why? I didn't bring a dog. We were like, no, we have video. It was like, we saw this dog that you were with. She was like, oh, we thought that was your dog. We were we were gonna say something. We thought you just hadn't fed it and left it. And we were
Oh
like,
my god.
we were like, you called the dog Chappie or whatever you called the dog. And then so when we said that and we sent her a video, she stopped responding and paid the pet fee. That was like the craziest story was she's trying to tell us that we left the dog there unattended.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
But she did rearrange one of our bedrooms. But it looked better that way. We're like, oh, thanks for that. We're gonna keep it this way.
Funny, she's like, this could be better. Let me fix it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we were happy about that. We weren't even that upset about the dog because it was well behaved. It was just funny the way she approached it.
Yeah.
That is funny.
See, it just goes to show you, honesty is the best policy, man. Like, she couldn't even keep her lie straight for, 2 or 3 texts?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's wild. Well, at least your horror stories aren't like the worst I've ever heard. That's nothing too crazy. It's definitely manageable. Who knows? You probably went and, pinned the thing on the wall. We don't know what really went down there, right? You could have brought it for all we know.
Yeah. They thought I left it up there.
Oh man. Well, TJ, we've hit the end. Shameless plugins. What do you got? What are you doing? What do you want to support? Like, we've got your contact info. We're gonna drop that here in the chat. Is there anything else that we should bring attention to?
Yeah. I'm always looking for funding and partners on deals or people who want to turn their rentals in Birmingham into midterm or short-term rentals. One thing I'm cooking up lately is a rent by the room model I'm calling blue collar boarding house. So it's rent by the room, mainly focused at construction workers, plumbers, electricians, roofers, HVAC folks. A place where they can save money, and then we also try to teach them about real estate and build their network up. And as we build up our blue collar network within this house, their goal is, while they're staying at our rental houses, is to save up enough money to put a down payment towards their own house, ideally a fixer-upper, and then the guys can go over there and help each other get their properties rent ready or live in ready, and then when they move out of our house, find somebody else who fits that ethos or fits that mold and also wants to grow and get into real estate, and they can continue helping a new person.
Such a cool dude, man. I love that. I love it. Bringing the community and the education and the passion and the short-term, midterm all into one little package. I like that. You heard it here first. Guys, that's his contact info right there. Wait, right there. Make sure you grab that. If you don't want to type it in, you can wait until this publishes on our channel and you can just go scoop it from the comments. TJ, any closing remarks, final thoughts, anything at all?
No, man. I'm just so happy to be working with y'all and part of y'all's family, and looking forward to what the next couple of years together brings.
I know. We love having you in our life, TJ.
Yeah,
it was so much fun at the Golden Ticket event, finally hanging out all in person.
I know.
It was like we had met a million times. Like we were just such a good fit.
I know.
It's
awesome.
awesome.
I love meeting people in person that we've been just hanging out on Zooms and over calls. Like another person on the team was Mac, right? I had talked to that dude maybe like 10, 15 different times before we actually met at community camp. And this dude's like this tall, and I'm like, oh man, you're a really tall guy, man. I didn't expect that.
You didn't expect me to be tall either.
I didn't. No, I definitely didn't, man. I didn't. I can see why you play basketball. But I guess that's just a recurring theme in my life.
We got to make sure you come to the boating trip too.
Definitely, man. All right, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate everybody listening on. Reach out to TJ. He's an awesome dude. He will give back. So blow him up. He'll get back to you. And thanks for everything, man. It's an honor to have you on today.
Thanks for having me. It's been so much fun.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.